Hi, I'm Simon from RidgeMonkey, and today we're going to be cooking a fantastic mushroom risotto on the bank. I've got the kettle boiling ready. One of the secrets is to use some hot water in the stock, so once you're adding it into the risotto, it's going to cook a lot quicker. But what we're going to do, we're going to take you step by step through the process of making the perfect risotto bankside. First of all, we're going to add a bit of hemp oil into our pan. Right, you can see that the oil's nicely heated up now. There's a little bit of smoke coming off there. So we're going to add some diced white onions to the pan. Now we want to cook these till they're just starting to go translucent. Right, as you can see, the onions are now starting to cook. They're just starting to brown very, very slightly on the edges. They're going translucent. So what we're going to do is add the mushrooms into the pan. Now I've used chestnut mushrooms here. I pre-slice them at home, put them in the bag for ease, but I like to use chestnut mushrooms. You get a lot more flavour out of them. A butter mushroom's quite watery. For the flavour wise, we're going to cook these down, we're going to get a nice caramelisation on them, and you'll really taste the difference. Now one of the things when you're cooking mushrooms is what you'll notice, the mushrooms will absorb all of the oil that's in the pan. Don't be tempted to put any more in just yet, because what will happen is as they start cooking, they then kick it back out and you'll end up with too much oil in your pan. So just let them naturally cook. They'll absorb that oil, they'll cook, and then it'll all go back into the pan and they'll leak back out. Right, so as you can see, these mushrooms have got a lovely bit of colour on them now. They're starting to caramelise. The onions are turning a nice golden brown colour. So what we're going to do, I've got some thyme leaves in here, fresh thyme. You can use dried if you want to. We're going to have a little squeeze of garlic over the top. And as I've said before, one of my 5 a day as I'm a chef, a good healthy dollop of butter. Now we're just going to stir that around. We're going to let this butter melt. Right, all of that butter's melting, starting to smell the flavours of the garlic and that thyme cooking through. Now the next thing we're going to add is some risotto rice. Now once again at home, I've pre-portioned this up, so I haven't got a big bag of it. I know exactly that's the amount that I want to put in there. This is arborio risotto rice. Now you can use Carleone, but for today, for the purposes of this, it's got a lovely nutty texture and it's still quite a little bit of a crunch as you're eating it, which is how I like my risotto. We're just going to mix that through with the mushrooms. Now you want to coat all of those grains of risotto rice with a bit of butter. That's just going to help kickstart the cooking process. Right, the next thing that we're going to add, I've got a stock pot here. So this is one of the vegetable stock pots. I'm not going to add the whole one. I just want about half of that stock pot to go into this. And there's just, normally we go ahead and we make a risotto using stock. But as we're going to use our kettle, we don't want to have that simmering away. So we're going to actually add the stock pot into there, mix it through, and then start adding our water. Now, I've already boiled this kettle. As I said earlier, one of the secrets to risotto is that you want the pan as hot as possible, but you also want the water as hot as possible, because that way it's going to steam through. Now, this isn't a dish you can cook, leave, go off, hit a fish, come back to, and it'll be perfect. What you're going to need to do is constantly keep an eye and keep stirring this. So we're going to add small amounts at a time. We're going to add some water to the pan. Now what we're looking for with this, we want all of that water to be absorbed by the risotto rice. So as it's cooking, the rice is going to start swelling, it's going to absorb all that water. When we get to that stage, then we'll add some more water. So you can see that the water's now evaporated. All we're really left with in there is a little residual oil and the butter. So we're going to add some more in. Now we're letting that come to a simmer, as you can see. We're going to give that a good mix in. And once again, the rice is going to absorb the liquid that we've just put in there, and it'll evaporate through steam and carry on cooking the rice. Right, as you can see, we've now added all the water. That rice has cooked perfectly through. Still a little bit of bite because we still just got a little bit more cooking to finish the dish off. But you can see the colour there, the flavours and the smell are going to come through beautifully. Now what we're going to add to next, I just want to add, I've got some double cream here. Just going to add a little drop, not a lot, just that much. 1-2 tablespoons of double cream. And just stir that through, just to add to the richness of that risotto. Now that's optional, you don't have to add that, I just like to. It works really, really well with the mushroom base. Next to go in, another chef's favourite from their 5 a day, cheese. Now this is some grated Parmesan cheese. If you're actually after a vegetarian risotto, don't use Parmesan, use a vegetarian substitute, okay? Parmesan isn't actually a vegetarian cheese. So we're just going to sprinkle that over the top. Now that's going to help bind that risotto together, the saltiness from the cheese. It's just going to help season it as well. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to taste this. I want to make sure that the seasoning's correct. And for me, I always carry a little pot of salt with me. Just going to season it ever so slightly. There we go, and that's ready. Now the problem that a lot of people have when they make risottos, they think that risotto needs to be really thick and stodgy, and it shouldn't actually be. It should still be quite a loose texture with a nice sauce flowing around the grains. So all that's left to do now is plate up. As we're plating up, you can see the loose texture of that risotto. It's not running, but it is falling ever so slightly. As you place it, it's just gently spreading out across the plate. Last but not least, as a chef, never a chance to add an extra bit of cheese. And there we have, mushroom risotto.